guess you could say, 6 state championships. Jackson Kincaid, player of the game, James Charles, both ran for 2 touchdowns, beat Vera 45-10. They kind of had an easy pass. The Raiders have won 2 in a row, but I feel like they kind of had an easy pass. I believe the path was easy, in my opinion, just because they missed a lot of those top teams. A lot of those top teams weren't there, this year. So for them to play in that 7-8, highest level in the state of Florida, they will definitely finish number 1 in the state of Florida. But, however, it's going to be weird because I don't think they'll have a top 10 appearance this year. So that's going to be a little interesting, in my opinion. I think we have Ryan Swartz on.
Yes. How you doing, Donovan?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm glad my sound a little bit better for the show. I know it was a little technical difficulties last week. But, yeah, I'm doing great. Wrap-up season, man. I tell you something about me. I went to the college football award show in Atlanta this past week. It was great. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Obviously, we watched a lot of football, in the high school ranks. It was obviously NFL week, and then a dead week for college football. Besides Army and Navy, still Navy, they won.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was just getting into my top 25 and shake-ups and my predictions, kind of, and I'll let you get into some things too. My top 4, I'll give it to you. Fans again, Bishop Corbin's number 1. Mm-hmm. They keep their number 1 title. I believe that. We'll talk about them in a second. I got some things to ask you about since you're out in the data. Yeah. So we'll talk about it. It'll be fun. Colquitt County is number 2. Congrats to Colquitt County, man. I predicted them to go undefeated. It's probably one of the only things I got right. So, yes, I'm patting myself on the back. But I did say they were going undefeated. They did that. They are – man, they kind of – a team from Georgia hasn't won a national championship since Warner Robins, I believe, or Lowndes, actually, from Valdosta. Both of those teams have won, and it's been a while. I don't know if this team's going to win a national title. They might get a share, but that performance versus Roswell was great in the Georgia Dome. Keel Pollard ran for 2 touchdowns. They won 30-13. Their defense was stellar. They only gave up 87 passing yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Some under 100, I know it was, versus Roswell, who's a running team, but 87 yards. They threw the ball over 20 times, so it was a little crazy to see that number. But yeah, this hats off to them in Rush Pros. I mean, this is, not many coaches have won multiple state titles in different states. I don't know how many, but it's probably not that many. I can recall recently he won one in Alabama and Georgia. And he was, I think they got a share of that title, if I'm not mistaken, when he was at Hoover with Jeremy Pruitt. I believe they got a share of that title with, South Lake Carroll, actually, when Todd Dodge was there. 2006 is the year they got a split. So, he's won a national title. He's won 4 state titles in Alabama. He's won 2 Georgia ones. So, possibly the best coach in the South. I mean, I know he has off-the-field stuff, but he's a good coach, and he's redeemed himself, I'll say that. 2 state titles in a row, 30 victories in a row. They play a pretty tough schedule in preseason. If I'm not mistaken, they play Lowndes early in the year. I know it's a rivalry game, but they play them really early in the year. It's kind of a weird thing. They play Male, though, that I just found out, from Kentucky, who is a top 10 team pretty much for everyone, or at least top 25. So, hey, they could win, outright next year. Their schedule is pretty strong, but we'll see what happens. I just want to give a little love to those guys. Have a good season. Corona Centennial's number 3, and, obviously we'll get into that game with Dale South. It's going to be really fun. Katy is number 4. They play Lake Travis. In another state title game, I have Dale South 5, Male at 6, IMG Academy at 7, St. Edward at 8, Lake Travis at 9, St. John Bosco at 10, Westlake Village, Austin, who, Ryan, what do you think about that, man? I'll stop there. 57-game win streak gone, Allen, Texas.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. Very shocked following along on Twitter. It really wasn't even as close as the final score, indicated. I believe it ended up being a 1-score game, but they really controlled the game, really from start to end. So pretty shocked about that. But great run for Allen. Couldn't be any more impressed with that, especially in the state of Texas, all those state championships. So hats off to Allen for a great run, and I'm sure they have another one in them soon.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Their quarterback, Mitchell Jenke, comes back because, he's only a junior. So they'll have him next year running the show. They lose 4 linemen, including Greg Little, who's number 1 offensive tackle in the country, but it's Allen. Now, they've never had to replace this much talent 2 years back to back because they're literally losing, 3 top 5 players, the last years. But Kyle Allen was everything, of course. But I think they'll be fine, yeah, man. I know a lot of people I love high school football. Ryan, I know you do too. But there was people bashing a lot of kids from Allen on Twitter, a lot of fans, older fans, of course. And it was kind of, I don't know. I didn't like it too much. I mean, I know it's sports. I get it. I love sports and the next guy. But, I mean, they're 14, 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
I'm
right there with you. Not a fan of that.
No, not at all. And I'll probably get into that maybe a little bit later if I have time. I don't want to talk about the negative stuff. But, I mean, I just noticed that I followed a couple Allen players, and they were pissed off, of course. I mean, because, they got these older, guys just yelling at them down their throat. And I know the expectations are high at Allen, probably more than any school in the state of Texas or in the country, but no need for that stuff, man. They're young kids, run big kids. They lost. They definitely, the score wasn't as close as indicated, so they didn't play that great. But nevertheless, maybe a little unnecessary, I think. But Westlake, man, I'm more excited about Westlake than Allen losing. I know a lot of people are just happy Allen lost because he's won so much, or they're saying, Allen just played a bad game that day. But, no, I have friends in Texas that were at that game, actually. And they said, I mean, they dominated from 0 to 60, that they went the whole way, and they were just a better team every time. Westlake. And Westlake's a good team. Todd Dodge from South Lake Carroll is their head coach. He was at North Texas and went back to high school. And I think they'll beat North Shore, actually, by a pretty good amount, maybe 2-3 touchdowns, which I think they possibly can move into the top 5, or at least the top 7. They did lose Lake Travis earlier in the season, so that's going to be a blemish. But other than that, I mean, they've been a dominant team the past few weeks. Mission Viejo, though, is number 12. We'll get into that state title game, too. St. Thomas Aquinas, repeat champion in Florida, number 13. Allen is number 14. Trinity Christian Academy is 15. Spanish Fort is 16. Mathis Catholic, 17. Maryland. It seems like they haven't played in forever. He only had 3 playoff games. Cedar Park keeps on winning, man. It might not be pretty sometimes. They beat their opponent this weekend. I forgot exactly who they played this weekend, actually, Cedar Park. They played Lone Park, though, in their rivalry / state title game. Always fun to see rivalry games at a state title game, too. So that'll be probably a good one to look out for. I think that one's in Houston, too, like at 3 a.m. for the Westlake game if you're in the state of Texas. Bishop Moore, good job, man. Full 5A school out in Florida. Had a couple injuries on the defensive side. Ended up winning the state title. Northwestern Rock Hill, South Carolina. Number 21. Eastside Catholic, state champs in Washington is 22. Still have Roswell ranked. I don't know if I should. I feel like I should. I just think Colquitt's that good. I don't think it's Roswell. I think Roswell could be anybody. I just named off pretty much from 10 down. They just had a bad day versus Colquitt. Yeah. Camarillo, 24. They played Del Oro. And Don Bosco Prep is number 25. Don Bosco Prep is, Don Bosco Prep, I know they have 3 losses, and people are kind of like, why do you have them in your top 25? But, I mean, you saw them play, right, Ryan, in person?
Yeah. I saw them from start to finish at Bishop Gorman. And no, you won't hear any disagreement from me having them in your top 25. Like I mentioned before, I was very impressed with them. I also think, rankings, part of the ideology at high school football or nationalhighschoolfootball.com and the high school football 100 rankings is that it's not really a standings. It's so if there's a 3-loss team that played a tougher schedule than an undefeated team, that's the justification for having them ranked higher. And I think Don Bosco Prep fits that mold. I saw the Paramus Catholic game on a replay. They lost in the final minute of the game. Really shouldn't have lost that game. They had a questionable roughing the passer penalty that gave Paramus another free play with no time, and Paramus hit a Hail Mary. So outside of that loss and another loss in state with some injuries, really Bishop Gorman and I guess their first loss was a convincing loss, but if I recall correctly, they didn't have their quarterback and maybe some other people, some other impactful players. So at the end of the day, the way they finished up in New Jersey, winning a state championship, I think they're very deserving of being a top 25 team right there in the 20 to 25 range.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you said it perfectly. I mean, they didn't have Tommy DeVito for two of those losses. Who I know he's a 4-star guy. He's doesn't do much as far as the stat sheet, but man, I mean that guy's third down completion percentage is great, and he just kind of knows where to be, knows where to put the ball, and everything. So I mean, you can't really deny that team out of New Jersey. But yeah, man, that's my top 25. Well, I mean, our website's top 25, but I guess I have the phone say or whatever. But I mean, Ravenswood is still a good team that's right outside, and Grayson and Xavier Brothers out of Massachusetts, Jinx, Oklahoma, Wayne, Hoover Heights in Ohio. So there's a bunch of good teams out here.
Yeah,
still,
good teams.
Gonzaga Prep in Washington. Yeah. But I mean, I said my top 4. Has yours changed? Obviously, Allen's gone. So who's number 14 now?
A little bit,
three.
A little change, a little bit different. I can't disagree with anything you said. All these teams at the top are extremely worthy of being ranked 1, 2, 3, or 4. But right now, I still have Centennial Corona at number 1, just based off of the fact their schedule so far probably isn't better than Bishop Gorman or Colquitt, but I will say they do have the best win, in my opinion, and that's over St. John Bosco. Another game that was played that probably wasn't as close as the 10-point final score indicated, but Centennial will be number 1 for having the best win, in my opinion, over St. John Bosco. Bishop Gorman right behind. I'd say their 6 big wins, really 7 if you throw in Liberty in the state championship, is significantly deeper than Centennial, but until Centennial gets knocked off by anybody, I'll keep them at 1. Bishop Gorman 2, Colquitt at number 3, back-to-back wins over Mill Creek and Roswell, and both in dominating fashion. Colquitt really, maybe just one game this season, I forget who it was challenged, but outside of that one game, they pretty much dominate from start to finish. So I'd like to have them on my bucket list as a team to see here in the next couple of years. And for people that don't know, this Colquitt team, they sent 16 players last year to play football at the next level. Was really expected to be a down year. So going back to what you were saying about Coach Probst, is it Probst?
Yeah, Probst. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great coach. Expecting to be a down year, and they're right in the national title hunt. So hats off to them out there. Katy shut out Steele, a team that was averaging 42 points per game, checks in at number 4 for me. Katy, even though they're at 4, they're a ways away from 1. It's really those top 3 for me that are in the hunt for the national championship. But even though Steele was a highly ranked team for everybody, as I look at their schedule from top to bottom, their best win was a win over a 6-6 DeSoto team. So Steele, it's kind of tough to get a gauge on how good they really are. But nonetheless, they averaged 42 points a game, and Katy shut them out. So impressive win for Katy. And, man, it's going to be probably just as equal of a great state championship in Texas as there will be in California between Lake Travis and Katy. Lake Travis beat Westlake, as you mentioned earlier, and Mansfield by 21 and 28 points each. So Lake Travis seems like the real deal, and so does Katy. So that one should be great. So that's my top 4, close behind De La Salle, Lake Travis, IMG, St. John Bosco, a few other really good teams with all those except for IMG with 1 loss. So That's mine. A lot will change if De La Salle knocks off Centennial this week, which